스타리그 스튜디오 라이브 ASL에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Group B of the ASL. Now, if you're watching this and you're going, what? Group B? Where's Group A? Well, we've had some complications, so we're starting today with Group B. Well, we haven't had complications, but Solkey got COVID, so he wasn't able to be at the studio. So not Group A. I'm saying Group A, Group B. Now I have complications.
Match number two. Match number two is what it is. That's what we're looking at here.
First, because match number one can't happen yet. It's been rescheduled. It still hasn't happened yet as of this recording, but we're going to be doing the second match before the first, is what I'm trying to say. Tastosis, take over, please.
Yes, no problem, Tastosis. You go lay down. I got this one for you, buddy. It is a Terran vs. Zerg anyways. So, Solkey, apparently he did get COVID, as Nick mentioned, and so luckily we're not, disqualifying anyone. That would be terrible. Obviously, Solkey's a potential winner of the tournament. So it's just going to be played like a double day next week. So, this week you're going to be getting this episode. Next week you should be getting 3. This is still going to be fantastic. This is actually maybe the best match in this round in a lot of ways. We're going to be going into Soma against Rush here tonight, and you just can't get better than this. These are the best 2 players from the new generation for their races. And in fact, I would say just straight up overall, the best 2 players of the new generation. I don't think any of the new Protosses quite measure up to these 2.
I agree. Soma and Rush, it's a big reminder to the entire world that, people are not still just playing Brood War. People are picking it up and playing at the highest level. I mean, this is a representation of, people that, even if you were a diehard fan of the very old MSLs and OSLs and you thought, man, times haven't changed. Aren't some of those old great players like, Jadong or Flash still playing today? Well, they are, but then we have new players with new styles like these 2.
Yeah, and they definitely do play different from everyone else. They're kind of blazing their own trails, which is really exciting. And both of them have been openly ambitious with their StarCraft careers, which, well, I'm going to shut up, I guess. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I thought we were going into a video. Oh, we are in a video. Help me, Tastosis.
천천히 대화를 보안 러시거든이 힘 앞에 박상현 선수 무너지고 마는데요. 16강 죽음의 조 D조의 대결.
당연한 연습 자체를 지금 잡혀온 거 같다고 아예 작성하고 마음을 먹어서
8강 진출 박상현.
홍준이 형 만나서 2번 시즌 복수하고 싶어요.
소마, 박상현, 장, 러시, 유영진, 테란. ASL Season 13 8강.
나의 레벨은 다르다. 어나더 레벨 핫식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌 13 8강 첫 번째 매치업으로 인사드립니다. 안녕하세요, 이현경입니다. 자, 치열했던 16강을 통해서 최강의 8명의 선수들이 8강에 올라왔습니다. 오늘은 그 첫 번째 경기 박상현 선수와 유영진 선수의 리매치가 성사됐는데요. 선수들 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 박상현 선수 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
네, 유영진 선수 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
자, 먼저 박상현 선수, 유영진 선수의 8강 리매치가 성사됐습니다. 만나서 복수를 꿈꾸고 있다고 말씀을 하셨는데 원하시는 대로 제가 또 추첨을 해드렸습니다. 어떻게 마음에 드시나요?
마음에 듭니다.
경기 전 저하고 얘기 나눴을 때는 생각보다 쉽지 않은 것 같다라고 말씀하셨었잖아요.
근데 좀 뭔가 마음 편하게 좀 바꿨어요. 어제까지는 좀 부담이 컸는데 오늘 그냥 흘러가는 대로 하겠다는 마인드로 하니까 좀 마음 편하고 이길 것 같습니다.
상대적으로 이 지난번 좋은 기억이 있기 때문에 지난 시즌 유영진 선수는 오늘의 매치업 상당히 마음에 드셨을 것 같은데요. 성사됐을 때의 기분은 어떠셨나요?
뭐 붙는 3명 중에 뭐 그나마 좀 이길 만한 상대라고 생각을 했고요. 오늘도 저번 시즌처럼 좀 격파할 생각입니다.
유영진 선수는 지난 16강 승자 인터뷰에서 16강 경기도 좀 힘든 경기였지만 8강에서는 조금 더 경기력을 다듬어 와야 할 것 같다라는 이야기를 하셨어요.
네.
어떤 부분을 좀 중점적으로 다듬어 오셨을까요?
일단 그날 경기 끝나고 집에 가서 이제 DJ 다시 보기를 보는데 그 정윤종 연보성 선수의 이제 그 다시 보기를 봤어요. 네. 거기서 이제 굉장히 좀 많은 피드백을 얻었고 좀 멘탈적으로 이제 좀 보완해야 될 점을 배워가지고 오늘 그대로 할 수 있다면은 좀 훨씬 좋은 결과가 나올 것 같아요.
또 결승까지 올라갔던 경험을 가지고 다시 한번 8강 경기에 임하기 때문에 훨씬 더 좀 노련해진 유영진 선수의 경기력 기대해봐도 좋을 것 같은데요. 박상현 선수는 오늘 또 테란전 다전제가 본인에게는 굉장히 넘어야 할 작지 않은 산인 것 같습니다. 뭐 프로토스전과 저그전에서는 이미 최강자임을 여러 번 입증을 했지만 테란전에서 조금은 무너지는 모습들 때문에 팬분들도 좀 염려 아닌 염려를 하고 계시잖아요.
네, 테란전 자신 있는데 뭔가 오프라인만 오면은 항상 지더라고요. 오프라인만 오면 뭔가 잘하더라고요, 상대들이 더. 그래서 오늘 좀 더 열심히 준비했고요. 네, 이길 것 같습니다.
어떤 준비를 해오셨을지 말씀해 주실 수 있을까요?
저는 제가 좀 제 실력만 나오면 영진이 형 그냥 이긴다고 생각해요, 솔직히. 그래서 그냥 제 실력 나오게끔만 준비했어요.
두 선수 지난 시즌 경기를 생각해 봤을 때는 분명히 준비를 뭔가 해오셨을 것 같다라는 느낌이 드는데 그래도 중요한 승부처가 될 만한 세트는 몇 세트라고 생각하시는지 박상현 선수는 어떠세요?
영진이 형이 만약에 4세트 안에 못 끝내면은 제가 무조건 이깁니다.
오, 그럼 5번째 메타버스에서 무조건 승률 100%의 비장의 무기를 준비해 왔다.
100%는 아니고요. 한 7, 80%?
오, 유영진 선수는 어떤가요?
저는 일단 저 친구가 하는 말을 믿지를 않아요. 저번 시즌에도 인터뷰를 하는데 자기는 뭐 정성만 하면 다 이길 것처럼 얘기하더니 저번 시즌에 1회처리 넣고 2회처리, 3회처리 다 하더라고요.
그렇죠, 네네네.
절대 믿지 않고
네.
5경기까지 가면 자기가 진다는 말로 들리네요.
오, 그렇다면 유영진 선수 좀 빠르게 끝낼 만한 뭔가가 있을까요? 앞선 세트들에서?
저요? 저는 노코멘트 하겠습니다.
뭔가 숨기는 상대에게 나도 뭔가 보여주지 않겠다라는 말씀이신 것 같은데요. 자, 두 선수 또 리매치이기 때문에 뭔가 동기부여가 굉장한 것 같습니다. 끝으로 각오를 청해 듣도록 하겠습니다. 박상현 선수.
오프라인 테란전 극복하고 이번 시즌 꼭 우승하겠습니다.
유영진 선수?
꼭 4강 올라와가지고 그 염석대 대전 한번 하고 싶네요.
두 선수의 멋진 경기 기대하도록 하겠습니다. 인터뷰 고맙습니다. 고맙습니다. 네, ASL 시즌13 8강 과연 박상현 선수가 복수에 성공할지 아니면 유영진 선수가 2시즌 연속 시드권을 획득할지 지금부터 두 선수의 8강 경기 함께 하시죠.
All right, everybody. It's time to get this match underway. Soma versus Rush, the two players in Zerg and Terran from the new era. We're going to start this off on Monopoly, then we go to Butter, Vermeer, Allegro, and finally Metaverse if we get to map 5.
Yeah. So it's safe. I can talk now. This isn't a
you
video
can talk
that's about to play.
Group B if you're me opening the show. Man, this was our roughest intro in the Patreon version of ASL's yet.
I can see why they canceled ASL now. I
get why we were fired.
I totally get it. I'm on their side. But look, here's what I wanted to talk about because this is something that I personally have a lot of respect for. Both of these guys have been very openly ambitious about what they want to do with Brood War, which is not common in StarCraft. Most people will play a lot of StarCraft and secretly want to be the best and want to be a champion and stuff like that, but they'll never say it because it's so hard to do, right? Like, it's so impossible to measure up to the best players in the world. But for the longest time, like, Soma's been very straightforward. He's like, I'm playing my ass off. I'm practicing harder than anyone. I want to be a champion. Rush as well since like ASL Season 4. He literally made the ID that he streamed on every day, ASL 4 Champ Rush, right? Like, because that's what he wants. And now these two have risen. They're both within the top of their races. And I honestly, like, you know this, Taste. It's like you've seen so many players over the years that, like, pretend they're not playing or pretend they don't want to be the best, but put in the time. So I really do appreciate players like this that they put their mouth where their ambition is and they follow it and look at it come true for them. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up, knowing players that actually were super active and would lie about it. That's actually a thing. It was a thing even way in the past. I remember being at events and people looking me in the eye and being like, I haven't played except for the month building up to this tournament. And I'm thinking, you're insane. We played together 6 months ago and you're online every day.
Yes. But yeah, it's awesome to see, man. And like, this is just going to be a great match. Soma, I feel like this might be his weakest matchup. That being said, I think he's still fantastic at Zerg vs. Terran. But Rush is like really, really good against Zerg. I mean, he's just good against everything right now.
Soma is just a player who knows, and I always look at him from the Zerg vs. Protoss perspective, because all these Protoss players that I try to study and that I look up to, I'll watch them just die to Soma in about 4 to 5 minutes. But he can do this against Terran too, and I am very curious because Rush has these unusual openers, but Soma really knows like how to use every Zergling, every Overlord positioning, how to hide tech, how to make it look like he's doing one thing when he's actually doing something else.
Yeah, he's quite encyclopedic in his knowledge, really. Like, it feels like he always has the answer and he always knows what is supposed to occur, which is a really powerful thing. But Rush has... You see, I guess for both of them, technically, their losing matchup is versus the other race that we're looking at. But, like, when you look at how well these guys have done, like Soma, a lot of his losses are against Light and Flash. So I don't want people to take that winning percentage that we just saw and get it too far out of line of what it actually is. But yeah, we saw Rush with his TVZ last season. He looked absolutely phenomenal. He had some amazing macro. The way he just cut through Soma's Crazy Zerg, which was super trendy at the time, was very impressive. So I'm hoping Soma has some new stuff he's bringing tonight.
Yeah, Soma's always been a fun Zerg to watch. His ZVT has been very smart. He's not just aggressive, but he knows just the right number of drones to perfectly have, and he never lets the Terran player ever really be on his back. He's not a guy that's going to bleed out an Overlord, drop a drone or two early on, so this should be a pretty sharp early game. To be honest, out of everything, I'm most interested in seeing what Rush's openers are and how exactly they're going to work against Soma.
Yeah, the thing is, I watch enough Rush that I'm actually on the other side. I'm kind of interested with Soma, what special things is he going to do to get ahead of Rush here? Because I think that's where he's going to have a hard time, is Rush is going to open beautifully and follow up with great macro and multitasking. So I feel like Soma needs to have his act together with the opener. Very much so.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And, Monopoly's a map. It's one of our newer maps. It's going to be fun to see how they're going to approach this one as well. It does seem like we're having some meta shifts here and there with TVZ as we go into 2022. But these two guys and this entire best of 5, this is going to be one that's going to impact the entire matchup for months to come.
Season 13 전투 준비 완료.
As it bleeds into me that it's seeking for you. Tell them the story, tell them the truth. As it bleeds into me that it's seeking for you.
모노폴리에서 게임을 시작합니다.
All right, in the top left. Oh wait, no, in the, the right middle we have Soma, and in the I did that thing again where I'm like looking at the wrong box or something. In the top left we have Rush. It's like the red box, when you look at the mini map, right? The red box is the top left and the white box is the bottom right, and it's a Zerg player, so I'm like, well, that's the red box. Like, that's the enemy, Tasteless. We Terrans are always the green box.
Yo, guys, if you are skipping ahead in the VOD, you just now get to this point. Two things. One, we want to say that I know this is the second best of 5 in the group. That's because Sulky got COVID, and we were not even just Tastosis and I. The studio was unable to record the first best of 5. That has been moved. That will still happen, but we're going to be doing this match first. And then second of all, guys, if you're watching this and you love StarCraft, you love ASL, and you love us, please think about supporting the Patreon. Even just $5 makes a huge difference. It goes to help us and help the people that help produce the English version of this recording.
Yeah, and big cheers to them, of course. Cobra Venom, nice username, and Banana Soup doing a great job for us on those VODs. And yeah, thanks everyone for supporting. So, you know, I'm gonna go and say I think Rush should be able to take this Tasteless. Looking at last season's results, Rush just looked so good in this matchup. And look, oh my God, he's gonna go Command Center first, and it is a hatchery first from Soma. So
this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, yeah. And this, like, I mean, it's such a good build for a best of 5, a Command Center first, and to bust it out game 1. I gotta say, I like that. Because now you put this down and Soma's looking at it, he's like, huh, I guess he's just ahead.
Yeah,
you got to think for the rest of the series, is this going to happen again?
It's so funny because, like, you know, you have standard openers and then you have greedy openers. And, like, the Zerg's opener, you know, it's very normal. You know, in some matchups you'd be at risk for a rush. But then when you get over there as a Zerg and you see the Terran would Command Center first and you think, oh God, had I only gone pool first, I would have already been in game 2. But instead, you're just playing from behind.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you have to be careful with pool first, right? Because it's another build that you do want to occasionally mix in, but like the higher level you get, the less pool first does. You know, like if you're low level and you pool first, you actually just kill a lot of Terran players. But when you get up to like rush level, unless they are like center racks, which doesn't ever happen on this map, which is probably why he chose this build, because you always consider that part of the percentage, right? If you go like 9 pool against a BBS, a barracks supply in the center, obviously you're going to be very happy as Zerg. You're going to basically free win there. But this being a map where you don't, the center is actually an island, guys, when you look at those minerals in the center. So like you just aren't going to get that here, which means that Soma discounts pool first likely as a good build, because Command Center first is like literally like 4 to 5% of games maximum that you're going to see this at the pro level. So yeah, I think that there's like a lot of smartness going on here.
I like the Den play. I think Soma, and you know, I doubt this is a pretty meditated build. I think this is very much a reaction. And we've talked about this with Soma a lot, and I mean, it's still applicable in this game. Soma knows when it's time to attack, and I think he's looking at this and saying, okay, well, Rush is already ahead. Let's do one of the cheesier builds here as Zerg. Now, note he gets the second gas down there. He knows an SCV is going to come in here to scout, and I think he may let the SCV come in and see the second gas and still keep the ramp blocked with the Lings. And this is such a Soma thing to do. 2 gases might signal to a Terran, oh, he's going to go for mutas, which is pretty normal, by the way. Even 2-hatch muta, that's aggressive, but it's not out of the ordinary. But going for 2-hatch Hydra into Lurker, the Terran may end up building a bunch of turrets in the main that he doesn't need. Now, is he going to just deny it? Okay, never mind. I was playing 40 chess there, and he just killed the thing. But either way, the Lurkers are going to come up and go to the entrance.
Yeah, and it's good for a lot of reasons, right? Like, the fact that Marines pop out on the outside, and then also he has the depots there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as long as Rush figures out that this is coming, he will hold it. But there's kill potential. 100% you're getting damage done here as Soma. I think it's a smart move.
I think it's really a great idea. He's going to have enough for 5 Lurkers here. Now, there's no bunker. The scanners just started. I think the Lurker eggs are going to start in a second here. And,
yeah,
again, keep in mind that one of these scanners could very well finish. and it may scan in the main to check for tech. It may be looking for a spire or a third hatchery, and it's winnable here for Rush, but it's also very losable here for Rush too. Okay, so that's what he needs to see, but he's going to realize he's going to be one scan short.
Yeah, he has, I just heard a barracks cancel because you do not want 5 barracks here. He starts to throw down 2 bunkers. Those bunkers must finish. Here come the lurkers now. He's got to cancel this Marine or have it pop out right now. Oh, he runs back. Oh my God. He just has to get a bunker finished here. Looks like he should get 1.
Well, hold on. The Lings are going to come in here and wrap around that. There's no way this bunker can live or the Marines inside.
Yeah, this game is almost over already. Soma with just a deadly attack, catching Rush in all of his greed. We're going to see if Rush can maybe still hold this. Maybe a bunker on top of the ramp or something, but no matter what he does at this point, he's in bad shape.
Yeah, this is a rough one, man. Like, I think this is absolutely a kill here. And this is Soma just doing Soma stuff, man. Decides that he's behind, does an all-in, pulls it off perfectly. The lurkers, oh my God, he's even dancing a lurker. The diss, GG.
Oh my God. The lurker dance, Tasteless, shoving it in Rush's face.
The lurker was twerking in his face, Tastosis.
I tell you, this was a great, and I agree with what you were saying before. I think this was a reactive play from Soma. I think that he did this off the cuff. You don't just go into a map and you're like, I'm going to go 2-hatch lurker because it's so bad in so many situations, you know, like in anything normal. But here Rush did the greediest thing possible. He did command center first, a wall in where his Marines popped out on the outside into engineering bay and academy. It was like he was trying to get everything in the universe, and Soma just killed him.
That's a rough loss for Terran, man. That's one of those, you know, you get away with that command center first. You feel great. You know that all you got to do is get into mid-game, get your macro engine going, but then those lurkers come in there, and, you know, there might have been a few micro decisions that could have been made there by Rush, and maybe that would have gone better, but definitely that first bunker on the right getting denied. Maybe he should have had the bunkers a little bit further back. I mean, the depots are going to go down no matter what. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a kind of a tough game here for Rush. I think he can just brush it off, play the rest of the series normally, but we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we get back, map number 2 on Butter.
어려워도 이렇게 멈추면 내가 아니지.
오늘이 보여.
새로운 나를 만든다.
나의 레벨은 다르다. 어너더 레벨 핫6.
이름은?
박상현.
이름의 뜻은?
서로상 어질현, 서로 어질게 잘 살자는 뜻입니다.
나이는?
28입니다.
아이디는?
소마입니다.
아이디의 뜻은?
제가 어렸을 때 소프트 클랜이었어요. 그걸 제가 마스터였어요. 어떤 분이 저를 그걸 줄여가지고 소마라고 불러주시더라고요. 그 어감이 너무 좋아서 주로 사용했습니다.
민트 초코 4%,
브로,
파인애플 피자 4%,
브로,
오이 케이크 대 김치 케이크.
오이 케이크요.
연습생 시절 대 육수 시절.
연습생 시절 하겠습니다. 육수는 이 두 글자로 표현하기에는 너무 깊은 고독과 엄청난 우울감을 가지고 있는 단어거든요.
감스트 대 이재동.
이재동. 제동이 형 정말 팬이었거든요. 그래서 프로게이머 꿈을 저도 보고 키웠기 때문에.
이재동 대 이몽규.
앞에서 제동이 형 했으니까 홍규 할게요. 네, 홍규.
ASL 진출 횟수는?
4번이요.
6번이에요.
그렇게 많이 했나?
첫 본선 진출 시즌은
시즌 7때 올라왔습니다.
시즌 8이에요.
13인가요? 아, 좀 10인 줄 알았네.
첫 8강 상대는
첫 시즌 윤철이 형인가?
십니까? 같은 조에 정답이 있어요.
태경이 형이요. 예, 태경이 형. 태경이 형입니다.
박상현의 테란전 승률은
30%.
정확합니다.
딱 30이에요?
프로토스 저그 승률이 몇 등인지 아시나요?
다 1등이요. 저한테 유리한 정보는 잘 알아가지고. 예.
만나고 싶은 상대로 유영진을 선택한 이유는
지난 시즌에 제가 그거 치고 잠을 자려고 하는데 자꾸 생각이 나서 잠을 못 자겠더라고요. 그 저글링 넣고 그게 뚫려야 되는데 안 뚫렸던 그 장면이 이게 꿈인가 현실인가 헷갈릴 정도로 선명하게 자꾸 떠올라서 잠을 못 잤거든요. 똑같이 느껴주고 싶어요.
마지막으로 8강 각오는
8강 무조건 이길 거고요. 진짜 자신 있습니다. 한 번만 더 믿어주세요. 왜 이렇게 어색하지 이거. 이거 못하겠네.
이름은
유영진입니다.
이름의 뜻은
꽃뿌리형 참진. 참한 꽃뿌리? 잘 모르겠는데.
나이는
32입니다.
아이디는
러쉬입니다.
아이디의 뜻은
중학교 때 여러 개 놓고 봤는데 좀 멋있는 것 같아서 선택했습니다.
스테이크 대 돈가스,
스테이크.
동해바다 대 서해바다,
남해바다. 남해바다가 이뻐요.
계획적이다 대 즉흥적이다.
계획적이다?
나의 장점 두 가지는
성실, 노력.
성실 대 노력,
전 노력 쪽인 것 같아요.
할만하다 대 보여준다.
할만함?
테란 유영진 선수입니다.
할만한다고 생각해서.
제일 만나기 싫은 선수 2명은
정윤종 잘하더라고요 요새. 김민철.
정윤종 대 김민철.
정윤종이 좀 더 할만할 것 같은데 그래도.
ASL 진출 횟수는
11회 정도 되는 것 같은데.
대국민 포함 12회 진출이에요. 8강 진출 횟수는
4번이.
8강 진출의 공통점은
최종전까지 가서 힘들게 올라온 거.
종족 관련 공통점이 하나 더 있어요.
이건 모르겠는데 뭐였죠?
시즌 10 김명훈, 시즌 11 조일창, 시즌 12 김민철, 시즌 13 김성래. 조1위가 모두 저그였단 것.
저거한테 다 뚜까 맞았어요. 네.
이게 징크스가 될 수도 있을 것 같은데
오늘은 진짜 1등으로 올라오고 싶었어요. 깔끔하게 그냥 3-3에서 딱 집에 가자라는 마음가짐으로 왔는데 제 마음대로 안 풀리더라고요 게임. 다음에는 진짜 꼭 1등으로 뚫어보고 싶어요.
준우승자 징크스를 깬 비결은
준우승을 하고 이렇게 좋은 성적을 거두고 나면은 해이해지는 것 같아요 마음이. 거기다가 또 이제 A조는 자기가 조를 좋게 만들 수 있는데 B조는 또 끌려다니는 입장이라 또 그렇게 좋은 조는 안 나와서 그래서 좀 많이들 떨어지는 것 같아요. 다행히도 좋은 조에다가 꾸준히 게임을 해서 좀 겨우겨우 뚫을 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
마지막으로 8강 각오는
이번 시즌도 최대한 오래 살아남아서 많이 올라가도록 하겠습니다.
ASL Season13 Unlimited.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time to go to Game 2 in this best of 5. Soma versus Rush. Game 1 was an interesting one. Rush went for Command Center first, and someone went for a hatchery first. Soma saw that it was hatchery first and decided it's time to cheese. And what's crazy about what Rush did in his build is he wasn't just greedy enough to go for Command Center first. He got an eBay, he got an Academy, and ultimately he just didn't have enough to stop a lurker bust. And so here we are, ready for Game 2.
Yeah, it was like the ultimate greed from him. Like, do you really need the +1 that fast? I mean, obviously it's a great build if you don't get punished, but it was as greedy, literally as you can't get greedier as Terran. It doesn't exist. So, wow. He does get killed off, and I think it's a well-deserved victory for Soma. We're going to go into set number 2 on Butter. It is a 2-player map. You can see that Rush picked it. No big surprise there. And we'll see how he does.
All right, guys, let's do this. Butter. Again, another 1v1 map. Let's see if Rush can turn this around or if Soma is going to catapult ahead with a huge 2-0 lead.
버터에서 게임을 시작합니다.
So in the top right, we have Soma. In the bottom right, we have Rush. So yeah, I'm not too surprised that he chose this map. Being a 2-player map, it's just a little bit harder for Zerg to get bases, you know? There's not like another main that a Zerg can make a hatch in and block the ramp and then go down the ramp like 2 centimeters to get a fourth. So any map like that, a player like Rush is going to really excel in. Like if you ever see Rush play Terran vs. Zerg on Eclipse, he's unfathomably strong there because he just keeps his macro going, he keeps his irradiates going, and it's just crazy hard for Zerg to get an additional base. So that's what I'm kind of expecting to see is Rush just, you know, keeping the pressure on, probably with SK Terran, but he does go for a wall. So it might actually be a tech build. Like, you normally don't wall your main base if you're going bio, unless it's a mine game, like a really heavy one.
Yeah, I like the point you made about the one-on-one map, kind of late-game feature of ZVT. It does seem like Zergs are maps that the bigger the maps and the more bases they are, as long as those bases are, you know, acquirable, you know, they've got small ramps at them, high ground, stuff like that. Seems like Zerg want to play a Terran on that over any map with limited expansions.
Yeah, for sure. You need those additional bases, like 100%. You know, Zerg without 4 bases against Terran is always manageable. So that 4th base is something very important to think about. In fact, even the 3rd base here doesn't look super easy to take. It's far enough away that I think it's not going to be that big an issue. Oh my god, is he going command center first again?
No way.
Yeah, way.
Okay. Well, I guess the question now is what kind of command center first build is it going to be?
Yeah, well, this time
is there any?
He's going to make his barracks out front.
Sorry, I don't mean to run over your Tastosis. Is there any CC first in the mech? Is that possible at all?
Yeah, it is. It is possible, but you'll almost never do it without a wall.
Okay.
Like the previous game would have been more likely for mech, I think. You know, just because, like, if you have a tight wall, then Lings can't get you. But if you try to go into mech here with no wall, that's, like, really difficult. Okay, he's starting to make a wall, so it is a possibility. And the thing is, you could even do, like, a 1-1-1 build as well. It's, like, either one. Anytime you can do mech, you can do a 1-1-1 instead if you want. It's a little bit more fragile, generally speaking. But, yeah, he throws down the gas. So, I mean, it looks like it definitely could be a mech build.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, honestly, CC first builds in Terran versus Zerg are, like, for me, this is uncharted territory in the game because I don't, you know, I'm always wondering what can you get away with. You know, this is not the kind of stuff you get to, you know, see in kind of standard ladder games. Really, CC first builds, you can do them on ladder, but normally these are reserved for, you know, a best of 3, a best of 5, a best of 7, stuff like that. So to see him do this, yeah, I'm just curious how this game's going to go. It looks like he is going to throw down that factory, right?
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Okay, so my guess is that this will be a 1-1-1, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It definitely could end up just being straight, like a mech build, a macro mech build, most likely. And I'm really wondering how Soma is going to react to that. I'm a little bit surprised that he's just going command center first twice in a row. But again, it seems like a pretty good mind game as well. It's just, I don't know. Like, remember he lost to Mini in the finals last season in 7 games, and it was like, what did Mini do? He went Nexus first 4 times, I want to say, out of the 7 games. So maybe Rush is looking at that and being like, you know, this is the way.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right, actually, about that. It was... We've gotten into this weird territory of, like, it used to be that in a best of 5 or a best of 3, we're like, oh, well, this is going to be your, you know, your Nexus first or your Command Center first build. Yeah, this is good to throw in because it forces them to really respect the fact that you might cut corners. But maybe we're going into a new area where it's like, well, you're going to, of course, Command Center first more than you're going to actually make a barracks first, right? I mean, that only makes sense.
I tell you, if it ever swings like that, then we're going to see Beast win an ASL.
That's right.
So it is the 1-1-1 as anticipated here. It's funny building placement he has. Like, look how far down. It's like at the very bottom, he has that starport being made. A couple barracks being added on. course, right now Soma doesn't really know that it's a 1-1-1, so that could hurt, right? Like, if you fly your Mutas in and then a Valkyrie is waiting for you, that's always going to be painful because you're, like, the 1-1-1 build is just ahead.
Now, well, it doesn't seem like Rush actually has that much defense yet. I know that Terran tend to get these turrets up at the last possible second, but you know, is there any chance you could just get caught off guard by the Muta tech? It seems standard to me, but I don't see that much defense in this thick area here in the middle where all the infrastructure is. Oh, well, I guess he might get the turrets up just in time.
As long as, as a high-level Terran player, as long as you scout when either the layer starts or the spire starts or anything like that, you know the exact second to start your turrets. And, you know, generally in a game, like, the general thought against 2-hatch is start them at 5:35. And that's actually exactly when he started them. So he's got the turrets right before the Mutas come, which is exactly what you want as well. And, yeah, I mean, you can lose some of these and everything, but there's going to be a Valkyrie in, like, the next 15 seconds flying over here, I think. So, you know, the Mutas, while they'll get a little tiny bit of damage, he hasn't overspent on turrets. There's that Valk, and, yeah, pushes it right away. This is a strong opener for Rush. He has to be happy right now. And look at that. He scans, and the millisecond that Soma sees the Valkyrie, he's like, oh, Hydra Den. And then the scan comes down, sees the Hydra Den. Now he knows he's going to probably go, I would imagine he'll go into Tank Vessel, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, it's funny, this kind of, like, info tit-for-tat, this back and forth that's going on. And so the Mutas, I mean, they can't do that much. They don't get a lot of stay power here as the Valkyries come out. We got a push here coming up from the Terran now. Rush is going to try to come across the map. He's scanning. This is going to, at least at the bare minimum, force some sunken colonies. Of course, Soma has to respect the fact that this infantry is going to be super powerful. And so, you know, right now, Soma in a little bit of limbo here. You know, he can't really harass like he would want to and come in and punish. It's funny how much money the Valkyries will save you in the long run when you're not remaking turrets, when you're not remaking SCVs.
Yeah, that is for sure. I mean, it's a little bit trickier to play in a lot of ways, but he's continuing to make his Valks right now. He's really pushing as hard as he can, reinforcing. Now 3 Valkyries and this much Marine Medic. Look at that, 4th Valkyrie on the way. This looks so good for Rush right now. You can see Soma is collecting some Scourge. He wants to pick these off because otherwise he's just going to get rolled. Like, there's this big weak period right before Lurkers, and that's what Rush is looking to hit. And I think he's going to move out at any second here.
Okay, he's going to set up for the counterattack here. He might even want to try hitting from behind to see if these Scourge can intercept the Valkyries. But so far, he doesn't really get much. He generates a bit of a threat. That forces Terran to pull back, defend, and then, you know, eventually, though, this attack's just going to come. Lurkers are being morphed. Can the Zerg actually run in here and attack? I feel like there really isn't that much here for Terran, right?
Yeah, there's not that much. Honestly, I think that Rush played this a bit wrong, and Soma's killing it. But let's see. Yeah, the Lurkers are finishing just now. 1 is done. He stims and spreads, scans it down, and kills it. 4 Lurkers hatch out. They're going to go ahead and burrow as well. But I think 4 is enough here to hold.
Wow, I feel like Rush, this whole game kind of got turned on his head. I mean, his natural was safe from Mutas when the Valkyries were protecting it, but once the Valkyries were away, Ling Muta is extremely strong in counterattacks. It's probably one of the best counterattacking compositions in the game, and now the Lurkers and the Lings ignore this. The command center goes down. I think we went from what looked like it could have been a normal Terran versus Zerg in the mid-game into one where there's maybe a 1% chance that Terran can pull this off.
Yeah, and this game is definitely over. GG is called, and Soma's going to go up 2-0. I got to say, this was, like, I'm watching what they're doing, and Russia's openings are without a doubt better, and Soma's decision-making is without a doubt better. It's like as clear as day. Like, Soma, the way he set up his army, he just needed Rush to pull back 1 time. That was exactly it, because Rush was trying to hit the thinnest margin. Like, he scanned and saw the Hydralisk Den, so you automatically know when the Lurkers finish. and he's trying to hit right before, so he has exactly enough power to kill everything. Right? Like, literally, Soma could have brought every unit he had and tried to fight Rush at that time, and he would have 0 chance. So he makes Rush turn around, and suddenly he can defend everything and do the counterattack. I feel like Rush he's misstepping here with these decisions, Tastosis.
Well, he's...
like, no bunker, no defense.
Yeah.
He's turning around when he knows that's what Soma wants. It's tough.
Yeah, man. Well, he's only got one more misstep left, and then he's dead. I mean, this has already been shorter than I thought it would be. I mean, I know we're going to game 3, and listen, man, I've got my fingers crossed here that Rush could take one, but he has to play a little bit cleaner. Right now, Soma's reactions are too on point, are too sharp, and honestly, Rush is paying for it, man.
Yeah. Soma is just, like, so unbelievably prepared. It's really beautiful to see. Well, honestly, it's not. I should actually take that back. It's not. That's not the right word. He's not prepared. He's making these great decisions off the cuff against Command Center first builds. Amazingly done from Soma. Up 2-0. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, Vermeer is map 3.
All right, welcome back, guys. I gotta just talk about what we were talking about on break, Tastosis. You know, like that game when Rush made the Valkyries, and obviously, you know, he's thinking, okay, now you can't attack me, Mutas. Then he leaves his base. I was joking to Tastosis that it was almost like one of those movies where he took a chalk and drew a circle and thought, like, now ghosts or demons couldn't attack him.
I know, it's so funny. It's like how ants can't go over it or something like that, right?
Yeah, they can't move around. This is how this works. It's like, no, man, that unit has to stay or you lose. Look, you know, not all ASL best of 5s are created equally, guys, and that seems to be the case today. Now, we're not done. There's a chance that Rush turns us around, but it's not just that it's an 0-2 here for Rush. It's that the way the games looked when he lost them came down to a lot of decision-making in the builds, decision-making in mid-game, which in all of these builds is very fleshed out. And so I'm a little bit worried about how exactly Rush is going to fare here in Game 3. Now, we had some downtime. Maybe he can pull it back together. Maybe he can come back with something a little bit more organized, because right now, we haven't even seen a late game here with Rush and Soma.
We haven't seen anything. The first time Rush gets attacked, he dies.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, his openers are getting him ahead. Like, he's literally just doing these openers that are great and not getting punished immediately. But then he's just not making the correct decisions afterwards. So there's no question that Soma is playing better than Rush tonight. It's just, it's pretty one-sided so far, and I'm really scared, Tasteless, that we're going to see Soma 9 pull this next game, and whatever the hell Rush has planned, it's going to be like BBS, or it's going to be a Command Center first for the 3rd time. He's going to be like, well, what would Flash do? Flash would Command Center first game. I'm like, no! Flash would be up 2-0 right now, okay? This is not the same thing.
It's weird because you don't normally see high-risk builds not pay off when they're not killed, like, you know, as in like a 4-pull versus a Command Center first. Like, when you see Command Center first and they get away with it for the first couple of minutes, you know, you kind of think the game is going to be the Terrans. And instead, Soma is just completely trashing Rush in every one of these games. I mean, you raised a good point about Command Center first that I hadn't really factored in. Is there a possibility he's going to go Command Center first? I don't know.
Well, Vermeer is, like, pretty big. But no, he shouldn't. Like, he needs to open normally here because it's almost too much at this point. I think you see Soma looking up at the lights there. I think he's just trying to figure out if he should pool first this game. Because, like, if he goes 9 pool, he might just get a free win right now. Honestly, the way that these builds have been going and the decision-making we've seen from Rush, it's like... yeah, I don't know. The way that Rush is playing tonight, Tastosis, it looks like he's looking for math wins, you know?
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, I'm just so far ahead, I win. And it's like, ugh.
Well, let's see, guys. This is Game 3. Rush needs a comeback, or this may be the most one-sided best of 5 we've had in ASL in quite a while.
게임을 시작합니다.
So we have Soma in the top right. Rush in the bottom left. So cross spawns. And let's just see how they open, man. I'm like, I really want this to be a great series. And it still has potential to be a good series. But right now it's a terrible series.
Yeah.
You know? It's just nothing has occurred.
We don't have even that much to offer in our casting here. You guys might as well have just watched this and had whale sounds play over it. I mean, there is just not a lot to unpack so far here, man. I mean, we've had Command Center first after Command Center first. And Soma, you know, it does, you know, on Soma's side of things, he's just doing what he does best. He's going in there for the kill. Oh, wait a minute. Really? Barracks?
4 to 8 racks.
Okay.
4 to 8 racks, yeah. So... this is a pressure build, but it's cross spawn, so it's not really going to do anything, I don't think. That's just such a long travel distance. If it's closer spawn, you have like much more potential with it. Here, I mean, you'll still pressure with it, but we'll see how much he gets done. I think after this, it's very likely that Soma will have a slight lead, but it's not an unplayable position for Terran, so I'm not as worried as I was.
So 8 racks pressure, and then behind that, you just want to try to make a command center. You know, basically keep the Zerg under control while you expand behind this. Is that correct?
Yeah. When you place it like this, it's almost always going to be a command center. Whereas if it's like in the center of the map, it'll generally be a vulture. But yeah, it should just be like 2 SCVs and then 2 to 3 Marines, you know, running up, trying to kill some drones. He'll scout to the other 2 bases, of course, and find nothing there. And then know that it is cross-spawn, which makes it, you know, it's just the travel distance being that much more just gives Soma all that time to react. So, you know, not a great situation for Rush, but we'll see how he can deal with it.
I guess the real big question, though, is, you know, is Rush going to be able to actually play the mid-game sequence out, regardless of the build he does, and not... you know, give the game away, because I think Game 1 was forgivable, but Game 2 raised my eyebrows, for sure.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Game 2, it's like, well, yeah, dude, the only thing he can do is actually attack you. Because there's no way to engage your Medic Marine when there's Valkyries over it. So just be safe, right? And it didn't happen. And so, you know, this is going to be a real challenge here for Rush. Right now, this might be the toughest series of Rush's life in the position he's in, being down this far. He's coming in here with that pressure. The drones are coming in from behind. They're here to intercept that 3rd Marine. They decide to back off.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get that. Not good enough surface area or anything. I think he's going to drill home now. Because we should already have... okay, that's 1 drone down. And we should already have Zerglings on the way, and here they are. So you can see how cross-spawn is just not nearly as good. He loses 1 drone and some lost mining time, but I think overall this is completely fine for Soma. Generally, you're looking to kill at least 2 drones, and he did not quite get that there.
So the Marines are going to continue to collect right now in the middle of the map. Now, again, this is a long travel distance. Gas is being mined. Now, I don't know if Ling's speed are being upgraded, but the Terran has to be aware of that, because when Lings with speed finish, if you have the right number of Zerglings, they can kill all the Marines that Terran has. Again, if you have enough Zerglings. So Terran's going to back up. Now, it was layer before Ling's speed, if my eyes are serving me correctly, and my understanding of this matchup is right.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. I think, you know, you generally... like, Ling speed as a counter to this. Like, you can get Ling speed almost as a defensive measure, but, like, a counterattack is not something that's likely to work. Every time that you see an 8-Rax like this, it is going to have a wall behind it. So the speedlings are just, like, not that useful. I think this is just going to proceed pretty normally from here. And I think that you look at this and probably just say, okay, yeah, Soma's in pretty good shape here, but there's a lot of play on both sides. So we just kind of have to wait and see how this develops.
Yeah, and in cross spawns, it's tough for the Terran to put that much pressure onto the Zerg's natural. It also causes a little bit of a guessing game as far as, where's the third base going to be? It's not really obvious. Does Zerg want to try to expand over here into the, the southeast, or do you want to be into the northwest, or where exactly are you going to go? So I've always found this from the Terran's position a little bit troublesome as far as intel goes.
Yeah, you're going to have limited scans and everything, and that can be a bit of a problem. And now there's going to be 3 hatches in the main base, so you have 3 different locations where tech can be built, and then you also have a bunch of bases that could be taken as a third. And Rush, though, it looks like he's trying to challenge for map control as early as possible because he did get the very quick engineering bay, and he's going up to 4 racks. So 4 racks plus 1 once he hits like a critical mass, will be able to stand toe-to-toe against this 3 hatch in main base. And he scans, he sees the Spire timing, he sees the 3rd hatchery, so he has 100% intel on what's going on right now. Yeah, I mean, this game is already looking better than the previous 2 because a position like this, these 2 players, I don't think this can be won or lost anytime soon.
I think you're right, and let's just put it out there, man. Rush is going to be in a game that should actually be able to develop. I mean, unless he makes some kind of egregious error, I really want to see a late game with these 2 players, so I'm excited.
Yeah. I would absolutely just love that. I was so excited going into tonight because, watching Rush play Terran vs. Zerg last season actually fixed a lot of things about my personal Terran vs. Zerg, where I'm like, oh, damn, he nailed it so hard, right? Like, now I understand this is what I'm supposed to do in a certain situation. So I do want to see some more of that. The games have been questionable tonight, but right now he's looking very strong. He's got a good group of Marine Medic. He's making his turrets on time. The Muta's flying across the map. We see Soma takes the top left, which that's the one that makes the most sense. It's going to allow him to take a 4th a little bit more easily. And now let's see. He's starting to try to pressure out onto the map, but the Mutas are ready to dive into the main.
Yeah, and there's enough turrets here that the Mutas are going to have to deal with this first. Actually, look at this. He's going to just try to fly through and start hitting some of these workers here. He does kill a decent amount, and one thing about when Mutas are stacked up like that is the turrets are not likely to all be targeting one Muta. In fact, they almost never do. So, all the Mutalisks can eat damage, but you still end up picking off a lot of SCVs and then getting out.
Yeah, it was like kind of a dive-in. He figured out what was going on. He got some good scouting, got a few SCVs. But I think Rush doesn't care about that at all. He's going to look at that and say, okay, there's some damage on the Mutas, whatever. And now we see, this is like the kind of battle that we're going to see for the next little while. Rush has those 4 Raxes, the +1 and everything, and he's just going to try to have some map control. But look at this, Soma going to try to dive in. I don't think he can get much done here, though. Plenty of turrets, plenty of Marines. And yes, Rush is moving across the map. So very decisive move from Rush.
Yeah, a very different counterattack this time around here. These Lings are a problem, but they're not enough of a threat to where things are going to fall apart back at home. And instead, this battering ram of a force has moved up north here for Rush. And he's going to be looking to try to take somewhat of a fight. Now, Soma's got enough Mutas that he can basically dance on the outside. He wants to bait out Stems, and if he sees an opening, try to come in there, line those Marines up, and knock them down.
Yeah, and notice how Rush stopped moving towards the main. The Mutas left him, and the Lings left him. So he knows Soma has brought everything back to try to defeat this army. So he's got to be careful about this. Also, notice how he's standing a lot more still right now. That's because he has so many units here. It's actually really hard to micro these against Mutas. So he's kind of taking his time, and here comes the flank from Soma. A beautiful move right now. Perfect surround, and he will eliminate that entire force. Soma continues to impress tonight.
Yeah, Soma makes it look like Terran would never, ever beat Zerg. It's kind of crazy watching this. Like, I think Rush had a good lead up to that moment, maybe overextended a little bit. Oh, wow, +1 air attack here, finishing up for Soma.
Yeah, very trendy right now to get that. And look at this. He's going to start eliminating some of these missile turrets. The starports are on the way, but not ready quite yet. A very annoying Mutalisk harassment. And look, Soma's already ahead on supply, so it's a little bit of a tough position for Rush, but I wouldn't call this game over yet.
No, it's not game over, but it is a Zerg that is basically now able to do whatever they want on the map, right? I mean, they're very freed up. The Terran can't really create any threats. Honestly, right now, the Terran is both pinned by the Mutas and receiving damage from the Mutas. So it's not just the threat of, Mutas making him not able to leave. He's still being hurt. Zerg's got that base at the top left. They've got the gas, and now the Hive's inbound here, which means Defiler Tech isn't that far away.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're going to be seeing here. Soma's going to be able to get himself into a beautiful macro game, but we have vessels on the way. And as the vessels come out, Rush is going to be able to get out on the map a little bit, right? We don't actually have that much interesting stuff from Soma. He's got a good amount of Lings. He's got a decent flock of Mutalisks. But of course, the upgraded Marines and Critical Mass can fight this, especially with a couple of Radiates.
Okay, the Marines are coming out now. And, Rush needs to generate a threat here, but he's got to be careful. He's bleeding off a lot of Marines. I mean, the Mutas are getting thinned out a little bit here, but again, it's really that Hive tech that we want to think about. Look how many drones are at that third base. We just had a very short screenshot of it, but man, he is like drone heavy back at home.
Yeah, he's really worked on his economy, hasn't he? That's like that very heavy. He probably has more drones than there are SCVs right now, I think.
I think you're actually completely correct. At least at that third base. Maybe my eyes played a trick on me, but I feel like he's completely full as far as drones go at his third. He's basically got his macro engine in place as far as the income is going here. And I mean, with hatcheries and everything else, I'd say even production-wise, Zerg is in good shape. So this is going to be tough. I mean, if anybody can do it, it's Rush. But let's not forget, man, like, Soma's so good at these engages and basically optimizing the damage while minimizing his losses. It's a little bit scary.
Well, it's a lot of bit scary. Nothing scarier than a pro Zerg. Everyone, even Protoss Terrans and everyone agrees with that. Now, a counterattack coming in. He shouldn't have irradiates on those two vessels quite yet. The counterattack looking very, very strong. The Ling's getting on top of all of these turrets. The Muta's diving in as well. We do have a counterattack coming up to the other, the natural basically here of Soma.
Okay,
and this could be a killing move as well.
If there is no lurkers to defend, well, he's got an egg over here at the ramp. Oh, this is getting crazy. It's getting a little base trade-ish right now. There are enough Lings and Mutas, and I don't see a bunker or anything like that in the main. I think everything that pops out dies, especially with this lurker coming up here. But, there's not a lot of lurkers in this game either. The problem, though, for Rush right now is it's his main base infrastructure that's being hit. And this is really, the Achilles heel of the Terran as far as, quick kills here. Where the two lurkers here on the ramp, I don't know if he can actually bust this. There's 3 more lurkers inbound as well.
Oh, man. Yeah, the main base being completely taken out like this is the real problem, though. He's trying to get up this ramp. That just about does it, Tastosis.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
More lurkers hatching. There's 2 bases that are completely fine against everything on Fire and Rush's base. It looks like he's about to be 3-0'd here in the round of 8.
Man, Soma is a killer, dude. He's so strong.
Yeah. This could be his season, honestly.
It certainly could,
This was some fantastic play. Yeah, the last group we saw him in, just as bad a killer. GG is called, and both the finalists now from last season are out. Rush making it a bit further than Mini, but not by much. Getting absolutely destroyed by Soma in this round of 8.
I can't believe how short this was. I'm stunned.
Yeah.
Even in this game, I thought as it panned out a little bit, certainly this was going to go in a late game. I got a little worried when Rush lost his army on the map. Like, Soma makes it look so easy. And this is going to be a haunting loss, no doubt, for Rush. I mean, this is one that you go back and you think, man, do I even understand this matchup? What happened to me back there?
Yeah.
Soma just we talk about him taking advantage of the early to mid game and punishing. Look at this guy just straight up in solid mid game. He makes it look like there's no way he would ever lose.
No, his decision making is so unbelievably strong in this matchup. Very, very impressed to see. Like, look, this counterattack that came in, it nailed it too. Because if those two vessels have irradiate, like if he waits like a little bit, then maybe that gets held, and maybe Rush can get ahead from this attack. I like that Rush was trying to play a more decisive game here, but it felt like Soma is of a different class.
He really is of a different class. I mean, I get the idea of trying to run it through and plow through the Zerg and try to punish man, but you know, unless you get up that ramp with the stemmed infantry, there's no necessary chance you have of winning. You know, I think had this Medic Marine gotten up that ramp before an egg started morphing, had he done everything then and tried to kill off what else is up here, different story. But if you don't get up there, man, there's this other base at the top left. It's a whole, you know, corner of the map to travel across. Just a rough loss, honestly, here for Rush. But, dude, clearly you keep putting Soma versus Rush, and Soma keeps winning. I don't know if a Game 4, if we were to have one, would have looked that much different, Tastosis.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Just amazing play from Soma, though.
ASL 시즌 13 8강 첫 번째 경기가 끝났습니다. 4강 첫 번째 등급 자가 탄생했는데요. 바로 박상현 선수입니다. 완벽한 복수에 성공한 박상현 선수 함께 하시죠. 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
3대 0입니다. 3대 0. 와, 이렇게 완벽하게 본인의 복수의 시나리오를 써내려 갈지 예상하기 힘들었는데요. 이 테란전 다전제에서 많은 것들을 얻어낸 소감이 어떠신지 좀 들어볼까요?
근데 이렇게 될 줄 알았어요. 이렇게 될 줄 알아서. 근데 기쁘긴 하네요. 예, 정말 기쁘고 기쁩니다.
경기 전부터 완벽한 승리를 예상하셨다는 건데 그렇다면 연습을 어떻게 해오셨을지가 굉장히 궁금해지거든요.
일단 연습을 지성이하고 영재형하고 기석이 형이 도와줬는데 너무 진짜 자기들처럼 많이 도와줘가지고 진짜 너무 고맙고, 근데 연습 때는 뭐 그냥 많이 졌어요. 근데 좀 깨달은 게 연습 때랑 똑같이 할 필요가 없더라고요. 그냥 연습은 열심히 하고 그냥 그 연습을 통해서 나오는 감각적인 걸로 좀 하면 이길 것 같다는 생각이 있었는데, 그래서 근데 5세트까지 더 준비하긴 했는데 3대0으로 이겨서 기분 좋습니다.
첫 번째 세트는 저글링 럴커로 완벽하게 상대 입구를 뚫어내셨어요. 이제 그 못 뚫었던 그 기억에 대한 생각은 안 하실 것 같아요.
네, 럴커는 그 아마추어의 김상곤 형이라고 있어요. 그 형이 모노폴리 무조건 뮤탈 생각하니까 럴커 하는 거 어떠냐고 했거든요. 근데 럴커도 준비했다가 그냥 뮤탈로 준비했었는데 생더블인 걸 보고 뭔가 팩토리류 할 것 같아서 그렇게 했는데 선앤배였더라고요. 그래서 잘 됐네요. 잘 통했네요.
두 번째 세트 역시 박상현 선수가 럴커로 좀 완벽하게 막아내는 모습이 있었어요. 유영재 선수가 좀 빠른 발키리로 바이오닉 병력을 저그 본진 쪽으로 좀 보냈는데 이거 역시 좀 럴커 타이밍 완벽하게 들어맞을 거라는 생각을 좀 하셨을까요?
네, 그 앞마당 뮤탈 갔을 때 스캔을 늦게 달더라고요. 그래서 바로 발키리 보기 전부터 히덴 지어가지고 영진이 형 생각보다 럴커가 빨리 나왔던 것 같아요.
세 번째 세트 버미어에서는 11시를 버리고 11시 쪽에 수비 병력이었던 럴커까지 그냥 테란 본진으로 보내셨어요. 어떻게 이런 판단을 하셨나요?
저글링하고 뮤탈 많이 찍어놨어가지고 이걸 좀 잘 활용 어떻게 할까 생각하다가 그냥 일단 솔직히 시간만 끌려고 했는데 그냥 나오더라고요. 그래서 그 나온 다음부터는 그냥 계획은 없었는데 그래서 즉흥적으로 잘 된 것 같습니다.
박상현 선수의 완벽한 강약 조절이 좀 돋보였던 8강이 아닐까 싶습니다. 자, 이제 4강 도전이 시작됩니다. 정희정 선수와 김민철 선수의 경기를 통해서 상대가 정해질 텐데요. 또 토스전, 저그전 모두 자신 있는 종족전이어서 박상현 선수 좀 기분이 좋으실 것 같아요.
결승 갔다 마인드입니다.
결승 이미 갔다라고 생각을 하고 계시는군요.
예.
그렇다면 박상현 선수의 각오를 안 들어볼 수가 없습니다. 각오 한 말씀 해주시죠.
4강 인철이 형도 잘하고 윤종이 형도 잘하지만 그래도 대회에서는 제가 준비만 잘하면 무조건 이길 수 있다고 생각하거든요. 그래서 결승 꼭 가겠습니다.
기대하도록 하겠습니다. 본인의 약점을 스스로 이겨낸 박상현 선수 앞으로의 행보가 굉장히 기대되는데요. 오늘 진출 다시 한번 축하드립니다.
그리고
네.
우리 바스포드 식구들 너무 고맙고 응원해줘서, 그리고 우리 치즈자도 이렇게 될 수 있으니까 진짜 열심히 합시다, 같이. 네.
멋집니다. 진출자의 또 격려까지 받아서 굉장히 기분 좋을 것 같습니다. 다시 한번 4강 진출 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
자, 이렇게 해서 4강에 진출한 박상현 선수와 함께했습니다.
And there you have it. 3-0. Soma absolutely manhandles Rush. I think the big takeaway here, these games were not won mechanically. They weren't won with intelligent openers. They weren't won with great micromanagement. They were all won by Soma with excellent decision making, which is, for someone as mechanically gifted as him, I mean, that is as deadly as it comes, Tasteless. I think he might be the favorite to win the tournament.
Yeah, and I think, a combination of decision-making and utilizing tactics so well. I mean, just completely knocked Rush away from anything that he wanted to do that game. Now, guys, Match 1 hasn't been played yet. Rain Solkey can't happen until Solkey has recovered from COVID. Hopefully he gets better soon. It's been rescheduled. But we are going to continue on with our recordings. Obviously, we don't have to go to round of 4, match 1 until the Rain Solkey match has happened. So the staff at the studio is just trying to organize around this. Look, guys, right now in Korea, Omicron is just sweeping across the country. We're basically hitting our peak this week. So things are going to be a little bit hectic. But as you can see, the other round of 8 matches, they're still going to be sick.
Yeah,
hopefully just
Rain Solkey still looking forward to that one when Solkey does recover. Then, of course, the other side of the bracket action, Light, JYJ, Bisu. All amazing matches. I don't think we're going to have that many 3-0s. I hope not.
Yeah.
But today was, I'm hoping, going to be the weakest match out of everything. And honestly, the way that Soma looks right now, I think he's going to the finals, Tasteless. I can't see Rain or Solkey beating him. I can't wait to see more of him in this tournament. He's just demolished everyone so far.
Yeah, well, it's been a funny season here. We've got the 2 really great old Protosses, back. I mean, Bisu's always been a legend, but then Rain is sort of, from the KSL era, so strong. And, we don't have the guys we're normally used to seeing. So it's going to be an interesting season here for Protoss and seeing what these 2 styles are going to offer in the modern meta here for ASL.
Yeah. It's all just very exciting stuff. Thank you again, guys, so much for supporting us on the Patreon. You can check that out, patreon.com/ASL English. I mean, this was a fast day. There's no dancing around it. It was one-sided. It's unfortunate to see Rush not do as well this season. I mean, round of 8 is nothing to scoff at, but you don't expect that.
I thought we were going to have, first of all, not a 3-0, but yeah, I thought it was going to be like a 2-hour, maybe 2.5-hour broadcast. So, unfortunately, it's very short, but that does kind of build an exciting narrative here for Soma going forward, that he is so untouchable. That was against Rush, the best of the best with Terrans, at least with us not having Flash here in the season. So, we'll see what he's got to offer here in the round of 4.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a hell of a lot to offer. I can't imagine Solkey taking him down. I can't imagine Rain. I can't imagine basically anyone really taking him down. Maybe
He's
Light.
Scary.
That would be the finals of my dreams at this point. Soma Light finals. Oh my God, give me or Bisu getting the rematch.
Yeah, that's a welcome
awesome
one too. I think no matter how we cut it, though, we've got, first of all, finals. It's hard to call, and a finals, it's going to be exciting. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you again, Patreon supporters. We're going to be back soon with, I think, Group C. Group A may be recorded in a combo day or a combo recording. We're not sure. Sit tight. Again, COVID is tearing through the entire country. We're hitting peak COVID right now. here in South Korea. So there's been some schedule moves, but the show must go on, and the games absolutely will still happen. We love you guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next recordings out.
ASL Season 13 Unlimited.